I used to live off-grid on this piece of property. We parked our vehicle here getting ready to go up the property. When we got out of the car, we smelled what smelled like rotten eggs.
Living off-grid often means solitude and peace, but sometimes it brings something far more unsettling. Imagine stepping out of your car only to be hit by the overwhelming stench of rotten eggs. It wasn't just a fleeting odor, it was thick and lingering, coming from somewhere up the hillside. As the odor intensified, so did the feeling that something was very wrong. Could there be more to this strange scent? What lurks behind these strange experiences is far more terrifying than ever imagined. The strange smell haunting Florida. Years ago in the sun-soaked state of Florida, a spine-chilling story circulated among the locals. A creature massive was said to loom over an 8-foot fence, its eerie presence marked by a foul odor, thick with the scent of sulfur. That same stench has now returned, stirring memories and unsettling fears. But this time it's coupled with a disturbing sense of being watched. Not far from where these tales take root stands a modest shelter cobbled together from discarded materials. It was pieced together under the watchful eye of the landowner, using bits of metal and wood salvaged from a house reduced to ashes. What things does this land hold? And why does it seem to repel anyone who dares to explore? But here's the twist. What if that creature wasn't just a myth? What if the foul stench and the sense of dread are warnings of something far more sinister, lying in wait? Moving forward, the path leads to a rickety bridge riddled with holes and weakened by rot, presenting a challenge to cross without mishap. Beyond this bridge lies a culvert, now the residence of an industrious new beaver, successor to an older one that met its end atop a pile of wood near the water's edge. This land echoes with the lives of its past dwellers, weaving a tapestry of existence that stretches back through time. In the stillness of night, unexpected melodies would sometimes pierce the silence, sounding like a grand orchestra and choir hidden among the trees. This bewildering phenomenon was later understood to be the voice of the creek's rapids, their flowing waters creating a symphony of natural sounds. On other occasions, while trekking to the parking area, the air would carry the faint sounds of a talk radio show, an old-fashioned one with indistinct voices layered over static, a curious auditory illusion born of the natural acoustics around. Driven by curiosity, the investigation of these sounds led to the culvert, where the Beaver's Dam redirected the water flow, causing it to spill and echo in a way that mimicked human voices from a radio station. This blending of natural sounds with the culvert's echo created a hauntingly beautiful effect, fascinating yet strange. These incidents peppered the days spent on this land, adding layers of intrigue to every moment spent there. At the junction where two creeks merge, there are tales yet to be told, hidden things waiting to be uncovered as the climb continues. The stay on this land spanned over 3 years, a deliberate attempt to emulate life in the 1850s, learning to live in harmony with the land. This period was rich with lessons learned about the natural world and the fortitude needed to live in such a raw, unforgiving environment.
Over here behind me, that is an outhouse.
The remnants of a once inhabited house mark a depression in the land, with an outhouse nearby creatively positioned over a decommissioned septic system, serving as a basic but functional toilet during those years. The view from this primitive facility was stunning, though the frigid temperatures that could plunge to 12 degrees below zero made each visit a bracing experience. Frost and ice became constant companions in those days, vividly etching each moment of life lived in close concert with the stark, untamed wilderness. In a quiet rural area, something rather unusual occurred on a property with a rich history, particularly focused around a hill situated across the road, leading to an old, no longer active mine. The path to this mine was permanently closed off by a gate, forbidding any vehicular access. During one particularly foggy evening, while engaged in a casual conversation outdoors, an unexpected and brief flash of green light caught their attention, emanating from the direction of the hill. This abrupt glow seemed almost like a signal flare, yet it vanished too swiftly to be just that. The memory of that green flash lingered long after the incident, especially as they started to delve into filming documentaries centered around those who study Sasquatch. In this new venture, they came across many accounts of unexplained lights appearing in remote, dense forests, which bore a resemblance to their own peculiar sighting. Interestingly, tales often circulated about Sasquatch dwelling near old mines or in caves, much like the abandoned mine down that road. While there was no concrete evidence to link their green light sighting directly to Sasquatch, the coincidence was compelling enough to keep them intrigued. They even invited others who might have witnessed similar phenomena to share their experiences, hoping to delve deeper into these unusual occurrences. With every new detail, the land seems to call out, urging us to explore what's waiting just beyond the usual paths. The black shape that ran across the land. Their narrative then shifts to another fascinating part of their land near some power lines where they once had a large 18-foot teepee set up. This particular area was historically used for logging. There was a pond nearby where logs were stored in water to prevent them from drying out and cracking. Close to the edge of their property was a structure previously used by the Diamond Match Stick Company, or possibly another match-producing company, as part of a logging operation. This place served as a collection point where large trees and logs from the mountains were brought down and floated through the forks of the creek to this holding pond. Originally, the cabin on this property was just a shell with 3 walls and no front. They put up a front wall, turning it into a useful communal space that also housed a kitchen. Over time, they expanded it further, adding a side bedroom and a place at the back porch for storing wood. As they moved closer to the power lines, they pointed out various features of the land.
So we're almost to the power line, but I want to show you a couple things on the way.
Including an inventive use of an old hot tub. This hot tub was repurposed as a gravity-fed water tower. Placed high up, it enabled them to channel water down to the communal area. They used a pump to bring water up from the creek, which was then used for various purposes, such as watering the garden or supplying the barn where they kept chickens, ducks, and rabbits. The barn was sturdy, designed to protect the animals from bears and other local wildlife. Near the power lines, they recalled one of the strangest sightings they had ever experienced. One morning, while busy with a project, they noticed what they initially thought was a huge black bear sprinting across the landscape below the power lines. The animal moved quickly on all fours from the base of a hill and disappeared into the woods. However, upon closer observation, they realized that the creature did not have the typical features of a bear, such as a pronounced neck, head, or snout. Instead, what stood out was a small nub-like feature in place of the shoulders. At the time, the idea of a Sasquatch was not something they considered seriously. It was just a fleeting, unexplained visual that they soon dismissed from their mind. Years later, however, as they became more involved with Sasquatch researchers, this particular memory resurfaced with clarity. Curious to determine the locomotion habits of Sasquatch, they decided to seek information online, particularly within forums dedicated to Sasquatch research. They posed a question about whether Sasquatch is known to run on all fours, as this could potentially explain the unusual sighting. The community response was divided. Some insisted that Sasquatch always walks upright, while others shared personal accounts of seeing these creatures run on all fours at high speeds. Reflecting on these discussions, they couldn't definitively conclude that what they saw was a Sasquatch, but they were certain it wasn't a bear. This experience underscored the unique nature of their time living in that rural setting where each day seemed to offer a new insight or a fresh challenge. The blend of natural beauty and the unexplained phenomena provided a continuous source of fascination and reflection. Their days were filled with tasks that connected them deeply with the land and its history. From maintaining the structures they built to caring for the animals and observing the natural ecosystems around them. Each element of their daily life was a piece of a larger problem, contributing to their understanding of survival and adaptation in a rugged environment.
We just wanted to see if we could live like that. And we learned a lot.
Living in such close proximity to nature, where the lines between the wild and the inhabited blurred, they grew to appreciate the complexities of their surroundings. The land, with its creeks, hills, and forests, was not just a backdrop for their adventures, but a living, breathing entity that offered both sustenance and problems. Through their interactions with the environment and the creatures that called it home, they learned valuable lessons about coexistence and respect for the natural world. Each unusual sighting or unexpected event added layers to their understanding of the place they called home, enriching their lives with stories that they would carry with them long after they had moved on from the land. Their time there was not just about survival, but about forming a deep, lasting bond with the land and its past, a narrative woven through with the threads of curiosity, discovery, and awe at the wonders of the natural world. Just when it seemed the land had shown everything, a new part begins, inviting us to dig deeper into the unknown. Strange sounds in the quiet woods. While he was recording himself speaking to the camera, a sharp, distinct sound of knocking came from nowhere. In his years of exploring and learning about Sasquatch through countless stories, books, and videos, he knew that such sounds were commonly associated with these elusive creatures. The knocking was unexpected and strange given the remote nature of their location, far removed from any paths or trails where people might usually walk. This interruption sparked curiosity, though it left him momentarily confused. Attempting to refocus on his filming, his attention was quickly drawn away again by several loud thumps near the nearby creek. While such noises were not out of the ordinary in such natural settings, often caused by rocks clattering down into the creek, the thuds he heard this time were unusually resonant, as if they were deliberately caused. It suggested the possibility of rocks being thrown or some large animal moving about on the opposite side of the hill down by the water. Intrigued and a bit cautious, he decided to explore the area, half expecting to perhaps spot a moose that had wandered into the creek. The area around him was lined with cedar trees under which lay stories from days past. One such story took place right where they had previously set up a teepee, just across from where a white van now stood, near the old rusted remains of a swing chair. On a day like any other, after he had been out cutting firewood, he returned to find his wife and daughter deep in conversation inside the teepee. Their chat had been abruptly interrupted by a deep grumbling growl nearby, a sound that immediately raised alarm. He quickly went to check the area and discovered a large, fresh pile of animal scat just a short distance from where he stood. From his experience in the wild, he recognized the size and shape of the droppings to suggest a very large animal, likely a grizzly bear, considering the pile was about 10 to 12 inches wide and 4 inches deep.
And this is where we would collect water and pump it up to the tower.
He followed what appeared to be tracks through the grass leading towards a nearby pond where they often collected water. Given it was the dry season, the pond had mostly receded, revealing the distinct impressions of large bear tracks in the mud at its edge. This confirmed his suspicions. It had indeed been a bear that had visited their campsite, evidenced by the poop, the growl, and the tracks. Though his family had come out of the teepee just moments after the bear had left, they hadn't seen the animal. Despite not witnessing the bear firsthand, the encounter left a strong impression and became yet another memorable tale from their experiences on this property. These episodes added to the rich tapestry of their life in this secluded area, where each day could bring something new and unexpected. Living in close proximity to nature, they often encountered wildlife, and each interaction with the natural world taught them more about the environment and how to coexist with the myriad creatures sharing their space. From the subtle signs of passing animals to the more direct encounters, every experience deepened their connection to the land. The landscape itself, with its dense forests, rushing creeks, and expansive outdoor space, provided a backdrop for countless stories and adventures. Whether it was tracking wildlife, exploring the surrounding woods, or simply observing the changing seasons, the family found that life here was never dull. Each strange noise or unexpected visitor brought a sense of excitement and a reminder of the wildness that surrounded them. Over the years, these stories became integral to their understanding of the land. They learned to read the signs left by animals, understand the rhythms of the seasons, and appreciate the solitude that came with their remote location. Each event, whether it was the strange knocks associated with Sasquatch or the tangible evidence of a bear's visit, contributed to their ever-growing knowledge and respect for the natural world. Their time on the property was not just about survival or recreation, it was an ongoing lesson in living in harmony with nature. They adapted to the challenges and embraced the surprises that came with rural life, from learning how to manage resources like water and wood to understanding the behaviors of the local wildlife. This connection to the environment was not merely practical but deeply spiritual, offering a constant source of inspiration and wonder. From old stories to new sightings, the pieces come together, pulling us closer to an ancient legend. The Big Footprints of Bluff Creek. Bigfoot, often called Sasquatch, has intrigued numerous generations. Often depicted as a massive furry humanoid, Bigfoot stories are deeply embedded in North American traditions, stretching back even before it became popular in the 20th century. Indigenous groups throughout the continent have shared tales about this entity, each version slightly different. The Sales community, for instance, labels it Sasket, which translates to hairy man and is where the term Sasquatch comes from. According to these stories, Bigfoot is seen as a protector of the woods, capable of existing in both material and spiritual worlds. Similarly, other tribes like the Haida and the Nuxalk narrate about a similar wild being living in the forests, possessing unique characteristics of both humans and animals. The modern narrative of Bigfoot took off in 1958 with the discovery of oversized footprints in Bluff Creek, California. Local lumberjacks attributed these marks to a gigantic entity, and the news rapidly spread across the media. Reporters coined the term Bigfoot, which quickly entered common vocabulary, sparking a surge in interest. This led to numerous claimed sightings throughout the United States and Canada. However, concrete evidence of Bigfoot's existence remains scarce, with many of the footprints exposed as frauds. The Patterson-Gimlin film, recorded in 1967 near the initial footprint site, remains the most iconic proof of Bigfoot. The video captures what appears to be a large, hairy creature crossing a forest clearing. This footage has sparked extensive debate, dividing people into believers and skeptics. While some consider it solid proof, others dismiss it as a hoax, highlighting the ongoing disagreements surrounding the Bigfoot phenomenon. Bigfoot's influence extends into popular culture, appearing in various books, films, and TV shows, often symbolizing the wild, untouched parts of nature. In the 1970s, Bigfoot became a figure representing environmentalism, portrayed as a defender of the forest, reminding us of the importance of conserving natural habitats. This portrayal was notably seen in the 1987 movie Harry and the Hendersons, where Bigfoot is shown as a misunderstood, benign giant. Within scientific circles, skepticism about Bigfoot's existence is prevalent. Experts often argue that reported sightings are misidentifications, typically involving bears or other animals. Some suggest that the Bigfoot legend is culturally constructed, similar to European wild man myths, suggesting a societal rather than biological basis. Nevertheless, researchers like Grover Krantz and Jeff Meldrum have examined the footprints and other alleged evidence, advocating for the potential existence of an unrecognized species. In indigenous narratives across North America, Bigfoot is more than folklore. It's part of their spiritual and cultural heritage. Described as a guardian or guide, these stories are integral to tribal rituals and cultural practices, reflecting the deep bond between these communities and their environment. Today, Bigfoot symbolizes the uncharted territories of our world. For many, it embodies the potential of undiscovered wonders. For others, it illustrates how narratives can evolve, driven by human creativity and the pursuit of intrigue. Despite ongoing debates and scant, indisputable evidence, Bigfoot continues to captivate, with new reports surfacing frequently. Regardless of its actual existence, Bigfoot persists as a prominent figure in North American culture, embodying both a link to the past and the endless human fascination with the unknown. Is this strange smell just a natural occurrence, or could it be something more sinister lurking on this off-grid property? Could there be an unknown force behind these eerie experiences? Tell us what you think, and remember to like and subscribe for more.